power. Explain that.
Actually, that's what I do.
Yeah, veto power is
what?
where you have the right to say what does and does not happen, or who someone interacts with or not, or how you interact with them.
Now, not based on some dumb.
No, it has to be have some valid reason.
But like, there's a veto that I do when basically, if there's a moment in time where I just feel super stressed out, I might not be able to handle other people in dating. And by the way, I've been non-monogamous since probably the start of this podcast. And because of the rules, because of how much discussion it requires, my entire time on this show, I've had people attack the way I live my life. Either saying I accept it, either saying this is the only way I can get it, or whatever the case may be. It is constant conversation. And I think it comes from when you discuss your issues in polyamory or non-monogamy. And so I want to implore you guys to understand that I don't have a monogamous friend that ain't going through something.
Everybody's going to go through something.
To talk about my relationships to a certain degree because I feel like it really is helpful. And when it comes to rules and things like that, the veto has been one that I enjoy the most. I've also tried monogamy, and it's not necessarily something that works anymore for me. I've got a lot of interests, a lot of kinks that just aren't really well received in monogamy. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
And so I don't know, as a girl that's very girlfriendy and emotional, people are very surprised that I'm not monogamous. But you got to remember,
can still be that with your person and be open. Because there's a difference between living an open lifestyle and being poly. They're all under the E&M umbrella, ethically non-monogamous umbrella, but it's just two different ways of interacting. So I heard you earlier say that your partner has like a lot of casual with different people. Y'all are in an open relationship, but when you start to build emotional bonds and you have those connections with people, that's when polyamory comes in.
And I can't handle that. So when there is someone saying
that is so
it's like, can't.
Brilliant.
But you know what, Tyomi? If I've ever vented about something, it really doesn't happen in this relationship because we've got some great communication around it. But if I've ever vented about something, the first thing I've heard is, I can't handle it. It's like, no, I can handle what I can handle. I really believe it's just.
Well, I think the interesting part when me and my ex got to have closure, he admitted that when we got into this type of dynamic where we were having, bringing women in and going to the clubs, he was like, oh, I thought the lifestyle meant like that you didn't care. Like it was like more freedom in it. And what's crazy is and he said, I wasn't ready for the amount of communication it took and for the amount of boundaries that he was like, monogamy, there's boundaries, but in this, there were way more.
There's not much communication.
There's not as much communication, which is what he said.
I really believe that when you're in a monogamous relationship, we actually just had a check-in at the club. Or no, not the club, it was like the afties. But it's 5 a.m. Me and my laugh, and he's like, bruh, how did we get here at 5 a.m. where now we just having our check-in with each other? He's like, shit happens.
Exactly.
But he's like, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody this much.
Because
when you're in a monogamous relationship, you just know you can't anyone else.
It's just assumed.
And the feelings change.
Yes, they do.
What do you mean the feelings change?
Like within open relationships, right? There was a point in time where I didn't really care about knowing. Now I do like to know.
And that's okay. And when you are open, it gives you the freedom to be able to flex those options and say, let's do this now. I think in monogamy, things are so stoic that it's like, it's this and only this. And if your feelings change, then we're breaking up. No. If your feelings change as a person in open relating,
be able to be flexible.
Talk about it, you negotiate it, and then you implement the change in your relationship so that the relationship can sustain.
And the jealousy also can sometimes be exactly the same. Like, for example, I just made a really big mistake in my relationship because he's only slept with 2 people without me. And I know he had a bunch of before me. So I'm just like, how did I think this was really how? I don't understand how it's just only been 2 women. He's like, I don't know. I'm kind of having fun when we're together doing this. So it's kind of made me less interested. And sometimes women want a little more. So whereas I had casual before, now that I have a girl, a lot of women don't want to just have, maybe they had a hope before.
It's very true.
A bunch of casual before. They didn't give a if you left their house or just pulled up. Now that you have a girl, it's like, oh, you ain't gonna do that when you got a girlfriend. He's like, so I'm kind of just like, all right, whatever.
Because other women, surprisingly, they actually respect it. They respect you as the woman in that dynamic. Because when my ex-husband was going out meeting people, he didn't realize how popular I was. So he would...
My didn't either.
He would.
The world was closed.
Yeah.
He would
He didn't know until the world opened up, and he had to take pictures of me with fans.
Oh yeah. That is one.
I don't know really how famous you are until someone comes up and hands their phone to him and is like, "Can you take a picture of us?" And now my a photographer.
Exactly.
Right.
So
it's true.
It's one of them things where I really respected all the women who followed me and ever met him, and he was trying to get at them because he would tell them like, "Oh, I don't need her permission to do anything," or she'll be like, "Well, actually, I need that from her."
Do you know my one rule, which I'm so glad he respects it? I was like, if you do, so let's just say a girl could be like,
she better not know horrible decisions.
No. I just want them to know you got a girl. I feel like that makes you an honorable man. Yes. To me, if there's ever a moment where we're out,
it only makes them an honorable man because you are allowing this dynamic. With a wife or girlfriend saying I got a wife or girlfriend without the wife or girlfriend knowing.
The thing of being in an open relationship is that person should also know.
Exactly.
Just because you have the freedom that doesn't mean you should be.
What you need to disclose that.
And you just somebody and we went to everyday people now here. Now, how would she feel?
She would feel up because she's like, you didn't tell me you had a girl.
Just because you can doesn't mean anything.
Informed consent. Let this person know exactly what's up with your dynamic so that they're not thrown off. Because people are crazy out here. People's mental health are hanging on by a thread. And you just don't know. You might have knocked her down so good that her mind is gone now. And then you her out with somebody else, and all of a sudden now she's scrapping.
And I think that's why it really matters to make sure, with women, I hate to say it, but in my ethically non-monogamous situations, I just feel like because I'm so well versed in it, I don't need to, this really ain't double checking with me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, okay, well, she's got the language, she knows what to do. So he's kind of letting me lead in that regard.
That's good.
And I also think a lot of his fears, like there's a reason he's only 2 people. I think it really has to do with like, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
valid.
That's valid.
And he told me in our checkup that we had at 5 a.m. in the club, he's like, yo, there are days where maybe someone will hit me up. You might be in LA, out of town, and I might want to, but I'm just like, is she going to feel good? She's having a busy day.
And that's beautiful. That's how it should be. Your partner having consideration for you.
Your feelings.
Right. Having consideration for you and your feelings.
His actions will make you
exactly.
Yeah.